All right then, let's begin. So we're going to start by thinking about our posture, of course. So we've got our feet roughly hip width apart. We're spreading out our toes and making a nice connection, not just through the toes, but through the balls of the feet and the heels as well. And then we're standing up nice and tall. So we're thinking of lifting and lengthening up through the crown of the head. But we don't want to be tense with that. So relax the shoulders, soften the knees, bring the hands onto the belly, and just start to notice your normal natural breathing to begin with. So you're going to feel the belly rise and fall, and like I say, that's just normal natural breath, soft and gentle. Then we're coming into that deeper, more connected breathing. So as we inhale, we feel the belly rise a bit more. We encourage that, and then as we breathe out, we encourage the breath away, get this natural tightening up or bracing feeling through the tummy. So we're going to keep that breathing pattern going. Let the arms relax down, and then breathe in and breathe out. Circle those arms back and round, taking a nice big stretch. So we're breathing in, breathing out, and we're just going to make those circles as big as we can to start with. So stretching through, working into those upper body muscles that always tend to carry some tightness, and we can't really help that. We're going one more time. We're going to let the arms come all the way round, then up and out, this time just into a horizontal position. Keeping the knees slightly soft, we turn and we turn, and we're just doing a very gentle upper body turn here. So keeping the knees slightly soft, keeping the hips fairly still, and focusing this movement through the centre of the body here and here. We're just going to take another couple of those twists, and then we'll carry on working our way through the rest of the body with our mobilising. From this one, then we come back, we bring the hands in now to the rib cage. The feet are a bit wider, and we drop the hips. So although it looks like we're going side to side, we're actually focusing on pushing downwards, trying to drop the hip, and as we drop the hip down, it does make the hip swing a little bit side to side, but it's definitely more of a lengthening down action that we're trying to do. So we're going to do the last couple of those. Then we need to move the pelvis the other way, so hands come to hips, we scoop underneath there, we lengthen out, we find those two extremes of posture. So I'm feeling the firing up of the tummy, the stretching of the back, and vice versa as we go those two directions. Now we're going to settle back into the centre, so I'm finding that midpoint, tailbone down, hips level, and then the arms are coming back again. So I'm now coming the other way with the arms, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. So again, it's all about that opening up, that nice big stretch, but of course going in the other direction from where we were before. So after this one, we're going to add the tiptoes with it. So we're still circling, nice big circles, but we're now rising as well, floating down into a little foot flex just as the arms come through that bottom phase. And then we get that nice circle happening again. So stretch your chest and shoulders. Whoops. You have to keep looking forward or you fall over. So nice big circles, up onto tiptoes, flexing feet at the bottom. And just do one more of those now. So come on up, float it down, flex, and then bring the arms up into that side horizontal again. This time side bending. Quite slowly through this one, we're just aiming to take the ribs here up and away from the hips. So with those hip slides earlier, we were taking the hip down away from the ribs. Now the hips are staying still, and we're taking the ribs away. So we get this nice lengthening feeling, and it's much bigger than the other version that we did a moment ago. So last one coming up to either side now, reach, and then final time reach, and then for our last bit we're going to bring the arms up overhead into a little swing through. Now we're breathing in and then breathing out, stretching up and swinging low. reach and release. Inhale and exhale. So we're going through one last time here, stretch and swing, and then reach up, and one last time those arms are just going to come around the back. We're stepping our feet out a little bit wider as we finish our mobilising with a nice bit of full body twisting. So make sure you're lifting up that back heel as you turn away, and nice relaxed arms. Everything's soft and gentle here, very relaxed. We're going last couple, and then let's bring it in and return to centre. Roll the shoulders, give those arms a little loosen and shake, give the legs a little bit of a loosen and shake, so everything's feeling really nice and connected, but definitely a bit more relaxed and soft. So we're coming into a palms up position to start with here. So just thinking a little bit into posture work before we get down to the floor. So reset that standing posture. Think about where your bottom is, or your pelvis in relation to the rest of you. Tailbone down, hips level, slightly soft knees, and a nice tall spine. Palms up then, and we're opening and closing. So quite a simple movement, but we're aiming to really stretch out the chest here, of course, as we open here while this is stretching, and at the same time get those shoulders working there. And with the palms up position, it will slightly change the way that the shoulders are working. Just watching out here for shoulders coming up. So we're keeping we're opening and we're keeping the shoulders down. You may find that they drift, so we're trying to avoid that happening. Keep the shoulders down and then get that nice open and close action. Like I say, palms up just makes it a little bit stronger into those shoulder muscles. So we're going to take another couple of stretches on this, and then we'll be heading to the floor in a moment. So final squeeze there, nice shoulders, they should be feeling quite warm after that. We're going to let the arms relax down, give them a little shake again just to loosen, and then we can head on down to our mats, ready for our main section. So I'm thinking now, coming onto my back lying position, so we want to be thinking of head support possibly, if you normally have head support. Let me just angle down there. Okay, and maybe just adjusting your screens if you need them. So yes, we're coming down. Like I say, head support if you need it. Otherwise, we're just coming into head flat on the floor. And I've got my knees bent and my feet on the floor as well, of course. I'm thinking soft shoulders here, so just have a quick check through the body. We know the head is comfortable, supported or not, that's up to you. We want the shoulders soft. Ribs connecting to the floor. Lower back resting gently on the floor. It's not forcing down, it's not bending the other way, it's just nice and relaxed, comfortably resting. Hands are on the belly, so we can start to feel that reconnection to the breathing again. And of course, just nice and relaxed through the hips and the legs at the moment. I'm making the breath a little bit deeper then, into the Pilates breathing, of course. So we inhale, we feel the belly rise. We exhale, and we encourage that breath away, feeling that natural tightening up through the centre. So I'm going to just slide out one leg. So for me, that's going to be my right leg, just because I'm going to start on my left leg. So my right leg now is stretching along the floor, toes pointed, so the leg is resting but not relaxed. And then I'm picking up my left leg. From here, I'm drawing a big circle. Now you can either keep your hands on your belly and feel that, or you can rest your arms away to the side. Drop the leg out, and as you do, allow your hip to go with it. Circle down so your toes just graze the floor. Bring the knee over the hip. Again, I'm lifting up here through this hip to create a circling movement. If you want that a bit more challenging, try a straight leg. Drop it out. Again, you'll see here my hips are moving with it. Down and then over the top. That's super challenging. And then you've got sort of a halfway in between one where we're leg bent at the top, circle out to the side, but then as you come to the bottom, stretch out, then bend the knee as you come back in. and that's, I'd say, a nice sort of half and half between bent leg is slightly easier, of course, straight leg is very challenging, and then a bit of a combination of bent and straight is your in-between option, depending on how it feels. We're going somewhere between about 5 and 10 circles each way, so you've probably already done more than 5 going this way. So if your leg is getting fatigued, you'll need to be changing direction now, maybe a couple more, and then of course you're going to repeat it all on the other side in just a second. For now though, just be aware of your breathing, be with your breath, be with the most challenging leg position that you feel comfortable doing, and then make those circles as big as you can. But like I say, with this one, it's not so much about maintaining a stable position. A lot of the time, of course, when we're on our back and we're doing leg work, we are thinking about maintaining a stable position. But this one is very much more about being free and loose and encouraging movement through the hip joint as we circle the leg round, but also the pelvis itself can move with you, and it's totally fine if you feel that you are rocking side to side, as we really sort of want that to happen on this one rather than being stuck and rigid. Now, of course, we're all going to be finishing at different times, so you're probably getting near the end now, but if you have finished, just coming into your nice rest position, maybe have a little curl up if your back's feeling a bit tight. You might want to stretch out if the front of the legs were particularly feeling that one. But yeah, just wherever you want to go for a moment, just nice and released and relaxed, having a little stretch away. Okay. We are good. Very nice. Okay, I think we're all done. So we're staying here. We're going to try and achieve the same sort of really big opening up type effect, not through the hips now, but through the shoulders. So I'm back into my normal setup position, quite relaxed with normal breathing, going into that deeper Pilates breath, of course, and we're going to separate the arm circles. So we float up now. This is either into a single leg or into a double tabletop, whichever you normally prefer. We bring the arms up, palms facing towards one another, and we're thinking of length first. So when you're taking the arms away from one another here, we're thinking rib cage down, low back nice and relaxed, but a really big stretch. Then we open out, of course, it's that big sweep through, switching places up to the top, crossover, big stretch, sweep around and up to the top, and we keep going there. We're going to do more repetitions with our arms because, of course, they're not so heavy as our legs. So whereas with the legs we were doing somewhere between 5 and 10, with the arms it's going to be more like between 10 and 20. So you've got quite a big leeway to work with there and just find your own best amount of repetitions. And of course that will be both directions too. So you could be going up to 20 this way and 20 back the other way if that's feeling good. Like I say, we really try to create that same sort of feeling. So big circles. We had that nice mobilizing through the pelvis. Now we're getting this nice mobilizing through the upper body. But at the same time, like with the leg version, there's still a really strong core element to this. With the hips, with the leg circling, it was more about just holding the weight of the leg, controlling the weight of the leg as it circles round. With the arms, it's about maintaining rib cage. You've also got the addition of either 1 or 2 legs giving extra challenge. So you've got that holding still connection, but then you've got this big mobilizing at the same time. As always, when you're done, resting and relaxing. And of course, using that rest time to stretch, release, or wherever you need to be for a moment. Wicked nice, everyone, well done. Okay, I think we're nearly there. So just enjoy that resting at the moment if that's where you are. Okay, so now we're all done. We're going to do one more thing on our back before we have a change of position. And for this one, we need a knee prop. So something just to squeeze between your knees. So something like a cushion or a towel, rolled up towel is good. It doesn't need to be particularly thick. It's just something to hold on to because we're going to try and hold quite a strong squeeze on this one. So your feet are together at the bottom, so your ankles are actually stuck together. Imagine that your ankles have been glued together, and then also that you're trying to squash this knee prop, whatever it is you've got, you're trying to hold it very, very firmly, even squashing it. Then the arms are coming away to the side. Do relax through the shoulders though, and of course connect your Pilates breathing. And then as we exhale, roll the knees one way as your head turns the opposite way. On a lot of our twisting, the head doesn't move, but for this one, we're going to try and send it the other way. As long as it's comfy for your neck, you're going to look down the opposite arm there as your knees are going the other way. So we create a slightly bigger twist. Now, of course, with this twisting version, there's lots of different options as well. So at the minute, I'm doing feet on the floor, squeezing my knee prop strongly. I can still keep squeezing, but I can go into this leg extended position over the top for a bit more challenge. And then you just tuck the foot back in, and then of course take the other leg when you go the other way. You can do feet off the floor. When we lift the feet away from the floor, we always know it's going to be more challenging. So I'm there. And again, I may do that by just keeping my ankles glued together, or I could be adding the top leg, again extending just like with the feet down version. It's quite hard to control that knee prop. It gives us something to think about, definitely, as we try not to lose it while we're twisting. You can even go full double tabletop here. That's super challenging. So taking the weight of the legs slightly further forward, and again you can still have that top leg over as well. So that makes it really, really tough. So have a play around with those options. As always, find the best version for you. It's a combination here of you're asking a lot of strength through your back, through your tummy, all those deeper muscles working hard to support the weight of your legs as you twist. But then of course, because it's a twist, there's an element of lengthening, stretching, mobilizing. So you've got that balance again of trying to encourage movement and stretching, but also still control the movement and feel strong, and that we're controlling the weight of the legs rather than the weight of the legs are just pulling us over and sort of doing their own thing. We're in control of them, and that comes from the center, of course. So we're going to take another last few here. As always, when you're done, just come and have a little release and relax for a moment. We are done. Very nice. Well done. So we're coming over to side lying now. So if you roll yourself over, and we're going to come into a really nice long straight line. So we're going to think a good combination on this one of balance, stability, strength, and as always there's a few options. So I'm making my straight line, I'm looking down the body, I'm checking my position. I can do this with a rested bottom leg but still keep it fairly straight, or a raised bottom leg. As always, head needs to be comfortable, so wherever that needs to be. We're going side kick. Now if you keep support, you're going to keep your hand just here a little bit in front of you, and I'm doing a single leg to start with. So I'm breathing out, I'm doing a super big stretch, pointing the toes, flex the foot. Oh, it's hard to see with my darker leggings on, but flex the foot and squeeze through the bum, drawing back as far as you can. And then we're into this nice big, again, it's encouraging stretch and movement, but it's also very strong because it's challenging us through here. If you're happy working on the hip, try lifting the other leg and maybe going into a scissoring side kick. So now I've actually got both legs moving, and it is possible to do this one without support. You'll notice that my top leg isn't going as far with this one. It's just not possible to get it as far as it is with support, of course, because you're going to topple over. So they're slightly different in their challenge, but they're both equally tough. So you've got your single leg option, which is good for resting your bottom leg, really super big extended leg work, and then you've got the scissor version, which is a bit more challenging, just purely from a strength point of view, because you're working both legs, but it's more difficult just in a different way. I wouldn't say it's necessarily harder particularly, they're both challenging, they're just different. So you might play around with those. Of course, with side work, we normally work up to about 20 as a maximum, anywhere up to that. So that will give you enough repetitions to either pick one and just do the maximum, or maybe do a bit of a mixture of both options if you want to feel the contrast between them too, between the both. Okay, they're looking good. Very nice. As always with side lying work, we're going to take our stretch out when we're done. So you're probably coming into your last few reps now. So when you do get there, legs away, arm overhead, give that pull to the arm, and we're really going to try and encourage that nice lengthening through the body. So I'm breathing into the ribs and the belly. I'm stretching away. And it may be just 3 or 4 deeper breaths to stay in that stretch and just let everything encourage. Very, very nice. We're going to use our hand for support as we push ourselves up. So coming this time into a slightly straddled position. Now I've gone into a fairly narrow straddle, and you can bend your knees as well if you need to. If the straight legs position doesn't feel too comfortable. If you're in straight legs, just make sure you're not really tense here, be quite soft. If on the other hand you are more comfortable, really encouraging big stretching, a wide straddle is totally fine for this as well. So I'll switch around my leg positions as we go along. We're going to take our arms away to the side, thumbs point up for this one, so palms are forward. First of all, just a twist. So I'm breathing out, breathing in, just like a normal seated spine twist really, or any of our normal twisting work, focusing on this centre. Now if you've got niggly low back, you might prefer to stay with just twisting on its own. If you're happy to come across though, I'm going to think now about taking this shoulder over for the saw. So I'm twisting, but I'm now also reaching. There. If you need to play around with your leg position, so you could do bent legs for this. So that definitely allows you to be a little bit more stretchy in the back, but a little bit less on the legs. Wider straddle, of course, very big opening saw. And again, that will be if you like that position. You can even leave straddle and come to more of a feet in position. You just go to where your foot would be. You're still getting that action of twist, then it's this shoulder reach that we're after, and then of course when we go to the other side. So you'll notice here I'm putting this hand down while I'm demoing, but it is normally you would take that back, but if you did need it, again that would be a good option. Change supporting hand. So if the back isn't too happy, that might help support you a bit. So that's a good option. Now we're going to take another couple of those. They're looking really good. So just another couple of reps on that one. Then we'll get back into our side work, of course. Wonderful. You may need to loosen the shoulders after that one. It does tend to get a bit shouldery just from holding the arms out. So give them a little wiggle. And then when you've done that, you can pop on over back to the side work. So make sure the head is comfortable. Find your posture, which is basically a straight line down your body. And then you've got resting single leg version. Breathe out. Really encourage that big kick. Flex the foot. Take it back as far as you can. It probably won't go quite as far as we were going on our bicycles last week. We're going to go big though. Big extension. If we're doing two legs, you can keep support or you can take it away. The legs won't go as far, but you'll definitely feel a bit more wobbly, of course, so maybe you need support. You can do supported two legs as well as another option. So yeah, play around with that. As you know, you're doing as many as you can of whichever version is the best option for you challenge-wise. And of course, we're always stretching at the end, although you won't be yet, so you'll still have a few more to go. Very good. We're thinking of breathing out as the top leg goes forward, breathing in as it comes back. So even if you're doing the two leg, I would set the breath with the top leg, if that makes sense. So top leg goes forward, breathe out, comes back, breathe in. It just helps to keep a good rhythm and just makes you focus on the breathing really, which of course we always want to happen. Yeah, really nice side kicks, very good. Wonderful. Very, very nice. I think we're getting into our last couple of reps now. So of course it's hand over head, big stretch. You might do about 3 or 4 breaths. And if you've already done your stretching, then you're resting for a minute. And then once we're all at that point, we'll be turning over. Wonderful. Right, let's come over then onto our tummies. We're going to think really about extension. So most of the time when we're doing our front line work, it's very much focused in shoulders, and there is an element of shoulder work here, but it's more thinking of spine, lengthening, extending, making ourselves feel taller. So this is our swan dive. We're going to have a normal front line head position. By that I mean the chin is slightly tucked in and I'm looking down, and the head basically stays in that position all the time so that I'm not jutting the chin forward or extending the head upwards. I'm always in that still head position. The hands are coming here, just to the side of the head, not too wide and forward like we were on the square last week, tucked in a little bit, and nice and relaxed on the shoulders here too. So I'm already a tiny little bit raised, and I'm thinking of breath. Into the ribs if we can when we're face down. And my first movement is just the shoulders, so they need to be loose, so give them a wiggle if you can first to check that the shoulders are loose, and then we're going to draw them back and down slightly. That leads to a small upper chest lift, and then a releasing and a softening of the shoulders. So the shoulders almost feel like they're falling forwards or slumping forwards when they're relaxed, but when you're doing the movement, you're drawing them back and down. And I'm now thinking about a little bit of extra extension through the upper back. At this point, the bum and the legs are fairly relaxed. There's a little bit of pressure on the arms as they support me but don't push me. And I'm also imagining somebody pulling my head away from me to create a feeling of length, like I'm growing taller. So that is position 1 of our swan dive, working on this upper chest extension while remaining fairly relaxed through the rest of the body. If you're coming higher than that, you'll feel a bit more pressure come into the arms. And here I'm up on the elbows, I can definitely feel the bum muscles, the leg muscles switching on. If I push with the hands, I can go all the way through, but I'm thinking tailbone tucking at that point. So I've got strong bum muscles, strong leg muscles, strong abdominals even. You wouldn't automatically think of this as a strong abdominal movement, but if you're coming to the top, it will be, because you're trying to get that scooping of the tailbone coming through. Wherever you go, however high or not you go, and literally this movement works whether you come up 2 inches or whether you come all the way up, you're still getting the same feel, hopefully. And it's that feeling of, imagine somebody just very gently cradling your head, pulling your head away from you, so your spine is lengthening, all your vertebrae are stretching away from one another. As we lift, that feeling of length continues. And like I said at the beginning, it's like we're trying to make ourselves be taller. It's a bit of a technical one, but it's a really nice one and really good for posture as well, because it really lengthens and opens everything out and takes us into basically the opposite position of where we spend 99.9% of our time when we're awake anyway, which is generally a little bit more curled forward. This is going the other way, of course. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a little bit longer, but of course it's quite variable, this one, on how many you'll do. Just see how it feels. If the shoulders get tired, if the back starts to get tired, whatever happens, just take a little moment to rest. And if you're still going, we're maybe going to have time for a few more reps. They're looking great. When you have finished swan dive, you'll probably want to just move the arms maybe into a bit more of a comfy position, so you can just rest and soften, particularly around the shoulders, for a moment. I think we're all done. So we're going to bring the hands in by the shoulders now and lift up, coming into all fours as we just take a little moment to release through here. So as we always do here, it's going to be just taking a moment to come through the cat and cow positions into the sideways hip slides. You can deepen that by even adding the head looking over the shoulder the other way. And of course it's up and down, it's side to side, and then it's putting it all together so you get that nice fluidity of movement. Okay, once we've had a good little release through there, we're going to actually stay here for a moment. So just come into a normal flat back position. Just make sure the elbows are slightly bent. We don't want to be locking the arms rigidly, and you definitely don't want your elbows pointing forward. So the crease of your elbows, you want them to face each other and then be slightly bent as well at the elbow. So from here I'm coming into threading needle. So I'm lifting one arm, push the floor away from you. I know that sounds odd, but it gives you a bit of extra height if you imagine pushing the floor away with that other hand. Then we come through and we roll that shoulder underneath, and I'm really reaching my fingers to that back wall now to try and encourage that movement. And then I'll stay here. Now, depending on how much the body likes threading needle movement, and there's lots of things that are challenging about it, like the supporting arm holding your body weight, the actual twisting part of it, it can be quite challenging. So we might only do maybe 2 or 3 each side, but I will give you a bit of leeway. So if you want to do more than that, if threading needle is a good movement for you, if it feels great, you might want to stay and do more like 7 or 8 reps to either side. If you've already changed or you're coming to change now, again, just make sure you soften that elbow that you're supporting on, and then reach and scoop. If you have already done both sides, that's fine. Once you're done, of course, just send your hands forward and come into your normal resting position that we always have after cat and cow. If you're still thread needling, don't worry. I did say I would give you plenty of time, so keep working. Once I can see you're all resting back into shoulder stretch position, whether that's child's pose or high hips, then I'll know we're ready to change position. I think we're pretty much all there now. Great job, everyone. Okay. Lovely, lovely. All right, so from here then we're going to be coming up. So we've already stretched our shoulders, we slide the hands in by the knees and we roll ourselves up. We're going to come back over to lay on our backs and just take a little moment to get set up there as we come into our last couple of things, our finishing sequence. So when I get to here, I want my normal setup position, so I again may require head support if you do normally. I've got knees bent, feet on the floor, and I'm back into my breath focus again. So just noticing, then deepening that abdominal breath. I'm floating up here through my left leg and my left arm. So you can start the other side, but just make sure it's the same side. I'm going long first, so breathe out, and I want you to think of creating space through the front of the body. So it's a maximum stretch, but it's also stable pelvis and ribs. I just noticed my ribs had popped up with that. So keep the ribs down and connected. Draw back to the top, and we're going out into a little lateral. Much more challenging to maintain your stability when you're in that lateral drop, when you're doing it on the same side. So then it's a long stretch. Think space, think creating space, but do still control the body, particularly rib cage and pelvis. Back up to center and into the lateral position, which is super, super challenging. A lot of the time when we're doing stabilizing type work like this, we're either just doing the legs or just doing the arms, or if we combine arms and legs, it's usually the opposite side, arm and leg. When you go to same side stability work, it becomes much more challenging, of course, so because you don't have anything counterbalancing you on the other side. So particularly in this lateral position, as we drop away, we're really asking and requiring a lot of that centre strength to hold us steady. Really feeling the weight of the arm and the leg as they drop away in this one, and you try not to let your body roll with it, which is what it will want to do. So we had those big sweeping leg circles earlier, of course, where we were encouraging the hips to move, Now we're trying to do the opposite of that and be very controlled. Okay, yeah, looking good. Lovely, lovely. Okay, so when we have done both sides, and I didn't really give you an amount to do, it's probably going to be, you'll know by feel with this one because you will get fatigued. So you're probably well into your second side by now. Once you finish that second side, just come down into your resting position, wherever that is. We'll all be stretching in a moment. So you can just enjoy a little moment of being soft and gentle with your body for a moment, just being with your breath, letting everything relax. Okay, I think we're all done. Great job. Right, we're going to start with both knees coming in. Now when we pull the knees in for this one, we want to shuffle your hips along, so you have to try and shuffle your bottom a little bit away from you so it opens up your low back and you're a bit more flat to the floor. Then we start to draw our circles round so we get this nice releasing, very gentle massage through the low back and hip area. Let's take that the other way as well. Okay. Carefully place those feet down. Take them long now then. So we're pointing out the toes. The arms are stretching away. And with this lengthened position, we really want to be thinking deeper breathing as well. Okay. We're going to flex feet to do that as well. So pulling the feet up towards the shins. Pushing down through those heels. Okay, release the legs. Bring the arms around so they're coming out to horizontal. Bend the knees. Pick up one leg and just roll it gently over. Catch it. Catch that knee with the other hand and just support as you come into that twist. You can let go if it feels good for your back to go a bit deeper. But if not, hold the weight. Take a couple of breaths. And then next time you exhale, roll back to the middle. Pick up the other leg. Again, twist it over and then catch it as it's on its way over. Letting go only if it feels comfy. Breathe into the position for a moment. Next exhale, let's roll back, and then from here we're going to turn to the side so we can pick ourselves all the way up to sitting again. So let's come and just sit nice and comfortably here and bring the hands up. We're opening the shoulders now, so it's that feeling of drawing the shoulder blades apart. As you're doing that, just breathing a little bit more deeply again. We're going to sit tall as the hands go the other way now, opening the chest. Okay, and release. And then we're going overhead, Nice big side bend. And the other side, just a couple of breaths. Okay, let's bring that back and we'll take one last little wriggle of the shoulders to finally release those, and we are done. Yay! Great job, everybody. Lovely to see you all. If you're popping straight off, well done. Thank you very much, and I will see you next.
Thank you very much.
Thursday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.